right here. So right now, I'm out here at Style Coach in Lower Price Hill, Cincinnati, right a few blocks away from where Ryan Hinton Jr. Was murdered by Cincinnati police. So, as always, to get the pulse of the community, you got to come to the barber shop. And my man, Coach, right here, he was kind enough to let me get some of his insight on the police and the relationship between the community and the police. He has been at this location 10 years, about to do a new grand opening. So be on the lookout for Style Coach reopening. Just purchased the building. Congratulations, and he's in here getting some work in. You see the lineup work, so I ain't going. You can't hold him on the lineup, so you see what he's doing. So, but I appreciate you, my brother, for giving me this opportunity to, just get your insight on the happenings in the community. Of course, we all know what happened to our young Ryan Hinton. Yeah. What did you, what did you feel, or what came across your mind when you first heard about it happen, being that it happened in the community and I guess so close to you?
Well, you mean this? Are you speaking on the son or the father?
Yeah, the son first. The son's situation with the police, and I guess how everything went down. What do you think about that situation?
Well, you know how the young boys, it's been a string of break-ins with cars. They call them the Kia boys. The young boys, they done figured out how to break into these cars or whatever. I don't know exactly. Well, I've been hearing conflicting stories. One story, he broke in the car. He broke into the car and stole it. He stole the car. Another story says that it was just a repo situation. Either way it goes, just some young boys out there just acting wild and got caught up. Now, as far as that situation goes, from my perspective,
yes,
I see a lot of people patrolling, a lot of cops patrolling the neighborhood that's not from the neighborhood. And I think that could raise some tension, because the ones who do police the neighborhood, who's from here, they are more connected. They have more of a love, an interest for the neighborhood, and a more gentle approach. You know what I'm saying? An understanding approach, and then they get that same response from us. If you notice on TV, the family was giving real evil stares to certain cops,
Mm-hmm.
who was from outside of the community. But officers who was from the community was able to approach this family and touch them and handle them and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So that just lets you know, that illustrates the fact that it's some type of it's tension in that area. And I think more people just need to police the neighborhood. That's a product of people policing the neighborhood who's not from here. Because I feel like if I would have saw him, I don't know, I might not have ran in the woods after him. Like, man, little Rodney, man, I'm gonna tell your mama.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell your mama, man.
Yeah,
Go ahead, I'm gonna catch up with you later on. I'm gonna talk to your mama.
Yeah.
Handle this.
We gonna get you. We gonna get you eventually. Like, go ahead and run. But yeah, we know where your mama live.
This
We know
little
where.
he ain't like the bust of the grape.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like, man, come on.
Yeah,
I've seen people do crimes, and they might have just got finished shooting or something, some gun activity. Now these guys, they take off running, and here come police coming from everywhere.
Yeah.
And they about to snatch this person up, and but I done seen times where me and my peoples, we might have been able to get a hold of him first, snatch him by the collar, and you know what I'm saying, and he sit there, man, please let me go, man. No, man, you gotta
wait for the folks.
Yeah, you gotta wait for him, and sit there. But the police, they go snatch him up, they go, they might, go overboard.
Yeah.
On the same people that I'll grab by the collar and man,
Yeah. So it's a fear on their part too, though, right? It's a fear, or I guess a unfamiliarity with the individual. So where some people can see Rodney run away with a gun, and just like you said, okay, he ain't about to shoot nobody. He just trying to get away. Where the police are seeing him, they're like, oh Lord, he got a gun. I gotta shoot him. So did you ever see the video?
I saw the video.
What is your interpretation of that video outside of what you just, the narrative that you just gave? What did you see, I guess what they said, a threatening person running with a gun, shooting at the police, or?
I saw some little weak-ass young boys just bored and, just engaging in that type of activity and, just some weak little bored young boys. That's all I saw.
Yeah. So do you?
True enough, they had. I mean, but I had to be in the police shoes. Now
Yeah.
I do give the police some credit. Like the police, they go through all types of situations, man, and from situation to situation, you never know how a person go respond or whatever, and they go through a lot, man. So I try to give them the benefit of the doubt. But just from my perspective, them being from the neighborhood that I've been operating out of for the longest, it's just like, I could see some little weak young boys, man. I probably seen them when they was babies.
Yeah.
And they just bored and just, product of the environment or whatever.
So what about the overall police? Not just this instance. Like I said, I know they had another shooting back in on Walnut Hill back in March. I don't know if you heard about that one, but the young brother, he was supposedly charging that police with a knife. But people from Cincinnati have been calling and telling me about just different instances. So what do you think the overall, I guess, relationship or perception of police from the community, especially the black community in Cincinnati, as regards to relationships, police brutality, harassment, things like that?
Well, it always had been tension in Cincinnati. Cincinnati got a long history of, just like corruption and combat between communities, between the black community and the police. So it's been like a long-going war, I guess. For the longest, since way before us, man.
Okay.
So that's a whole nother story. So the solution is, it's like on this block, anytime I have an event, like we police ourselves.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
That's what works best for me.
Definitely.
Policing myself. And if we police ourselves, I think, we can't keep depending on the next person. Like, we gotta take care of it ourselves. Just like Kennedy said, ask not what your country could do for you.
Okay.
Ask yourself what you could do for your country. You know what I'm saying? So we can't keep waiting on them to solve the problem. Number one, we can't keep waiting on them. And then number two, we gotta quit discouraging our own people from becoming police. For the longest, we've been ridiculing our own people for becoming police. Oh, you the police, you this, you that, and but in a certain aspect, we need those. We need people from our community representing us.
Definitely.
Because that was a major play in other cultures. Them getting their people into the force or whatever.
Okay.
And I ain't no black and white, person. Like, man, white cops done pulled me over and treated me in a way and made me shed a tear. Like, man, they treated me like a son. And I done had some black cops whoop my ass. Whoop my ass. I ain't gonna say his name, King George. Famous for whooping our ass.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So it ain't necessarily a black and white thing. It's just like, we just need the police ourselves. Whether we got our own people policing, involved in the with the police, or we out there, pulling all the young brothers to the side. I don't just cut hair over here. I had conversations.
Definitely.
I'm getting into these guys' head.
Yeah.
On their head and in their head.
Okay.
And I think all the OGs, man, sometimes I gotta check them, and man, we iron sharpening iron.
Definitely, always. That's what's up, man.
I'm part of the force.
Okay, and that's why I decided to stop through. I was sitting at the light, and I said, okay, this, you know what I'm saying? I think we can talk. You know what I'm saying? So
that's just how the universe works. Cause you done popped up on this screen right here.
He said he had me on the screen. He had me on the YouTube screen up here.
Looking up, man.
He said he had me up here.
Yeah, you done been up there, man. You done popped up.
So my brother, he definitely conscious, and I like the policing of the community, of yourself, of ourselves. Now, part two, because this is a major part of it. Many people feel like, around the nation, that Ryan Hinton death wouldn't have been known if not for the actions, or the alleged actions, of his father, Rodney Hinton Jr., who was alleged to have went out and ran over the police deputy after watching, that video where his son's life was taken. Mm-hmm. So now, from what you get from the community, or even your own perception, what is the community's feeling about that? As far as that goes, or what are you hearing, or what do you feel? Because I see a lot of people saying, well, hey, yeah, I don't personally agree with it, but I think we've had enough of police taking our children's lives. So, people are championing him. People are calling me every day trying to figure out where to send him money, and so what is your perception of that, or, what are you hearing from people around the community in regards to that part of the situation?
I've been seeing a lot of that in 2025. It's like people breaking the law and getting supported by the public. Like people starting GoFundMes and all this type of stuff, supporting these people. Like the healthcare CEO, he met his fate. And people supported that, man.
People supported what you talking about? The guy who
the murderer.
The Luigi guy. I didn't follow that case too much. So they actually fundraised for him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So man, a lot of things, man, in America is. I'm gonna try to stay on topic.
Yeah.
Industrialized. It's like the justice system is industrialized. They're trying to acquire justice, but at the same time they get money. A lot of people get paid. And so, you don't know which part is justice and which part is industry. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So people are, and that's one thing I think the Attorney General came out was like, people are trying to profit off criminality, and I don't see it that way. Like I said, if you go back to George Zimmerman, or some of the police officers like Darren Wilson who killed Mike Brain, like people rallied around them and gave them money for their defense, or when they lost their jobs and everything. So people felt near to their cause, so they decided to support them in that manner. So I don't think it's necessarily profiting. I think it's people trying to support someone who's in a bad situation, and they may need funds to get themselves out of that bad situation. As far as I think, Cal Rittenhouse, he had to raise a lot of money for his defense fund when he, went out there, and many people felt like what he did was wrong, but, nobody kind of said nothing when, those things are raised towards other people. But, when our brother, Mr. Hinton, is deciding to raise money, seems like everybody has a problem with it now, in my opinion.
Okay, yeah, I can see your point on that. You talking about other cultures, you know, getting funded for their situation versus, you know, this one right here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I could kind of see where you coming from.
Yeah, so basically, you know, with the funding he's trying to put on the defense, and from my understanding, his lawyer is trying to, you know, use the insanity defense. Do you think that's a good defense, considering, you know, that they said that he did this after he watched his son's life being taken? Or what do you think the outcome of the trial? Like, do you even think he can get a fair trial?
Get a fair trial. He definitely got some good representation, man, because you got that GoFundMe going and you got Clyde Bennett on the side. So you got some good representation, but, you know, a lot of people, man, just walking around with trauma. You know, a lot of people got undiagnosed, you know, trauma in our neighborhood. So, you know, some people, different people got different reservoirs, you know. Some people could hold in and suppress more than others or whatever. And then he was just one of them people who just combusted and just exploded or whatever. But, you know, a lot of people been taking a lot in these neighborhoods, man, and a lot been built on our backs, whatever. So it's just like, man, yeah, I see some people really justifying this, and
Yeah.
and it's almost crooked because they like, man, I would have did the same thing. And it's, you know, from a civilized standpoint, man, it's just like, dang, man, yeah, it's definitely unethical, but just one of those ethical dilemmas, man, because it's a lot of suppressed, you know, anger that and tension that been built up that, you know, that caused incidents like this to happen. So, yeah, as far as the funding and all that type of stuff, I feel everybody deserves their fair, you know, they fair day in court. So, and good representation. So, you know, ain't no crime in that.
Yeah. So lastly, you know, I guess as far as, you know, his treatment in jail, do you fear, you know, being at what he's accused of, that, you know, he's in danger of you know, possible retaliation?
In danger of possible retaliation.
Yeah, like from maybe, you know, police, you know, who feel like, you know, he took one of theirs, or law enforcement officers or deputies in the court system. I mean, now he's, you know, they seem to be, I guess, treating him pretty well, but, you know, it's always in the back of my mind, because I've been in jail and I've seen, you know, some of the things that occur sometimes between law enforcement and quote unquote prisoners. So that's always a concern of mine. In this nature.
Yeah, they almost move like a gang. It's on that court.
Yeah, So what did you think about that? What did you see from that right there?
Yeah, it was like a million of them in court, and they was ready for smoke. They was ready for smoke. Well, but them boys, I mean, they definitely a gang, man, and they, you know, they definitely gonna stick together at the end of the day.
Yeah. All right. Well, shout out, man. I ain't gonna hold you up, man. 'Cause I know this is the part right here, that line right here, that line in the razor edge. This that he got to be focused, man. So but I thank you. I thank you, man, for giving us your insight. But also, y'all make sure y'all check out Styles Coach, right? Styles Coach Barbershop. Cincinnati, Ohio. What's the street number?
It's on 8th and State, right
on 8th and State. 8th and State, Cincinnati, Ohio. So y'all see the work when y'all in town. Make sure y'all come through and get y'all a nice line, razor edge, all that hot rag treatment, beard.
Also, 8th and State, man. If you it used to be known as Stores Township. If you look on the map on 8th and State, right above it, it says Storrs Township. I don't know why they changed the name to Lower Price Hill, but if you look up Storrs Township, that's the famous town that Harriet Tubman operated out of. So it's really a national historic landmark right here. Come
Wow.
from Cincinnati, man. There's a lot of hidden history over here, and glad that you blessed our city with your presence, man. Fight the cause, help us fight the cause, man.
Man.
You know, it takes a village, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you for welcoming me in, man. I didn't know that. I'm going to have to do some research on that. Storrs Township, Cincinnati. This is where they came through. So that's right, man. Peace and blessings, man. Thank you so much. All right. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. And there you have my man, Style Coach. Y'all see the card? Can't see the card. There you go. Style Coach. 2305 West 8th Street on 8th and State. Former headquarters of Harriet Tubman. There's a lot of history in Cincinnati. I've been getting a lot of love in Cincinnati. You see, he even before I left, he hit me with the little line. He got me fresh all the way around. So shout out to my brother, man, on in the Cincinnati as a whole, man. But my brother was spitting some real knowledge, especially if you remember first he's talking about policing our own communities. When members of the police are familiar with the community, they would have saw Lil Ryan like, oh, that's just Lil Ryan. He out here getting in the mischief. We gonna get him later, right? But when other people outside of the community don't have no relationship or connection with the community, then you get these instances where, of course, crime should not happen. He shouldn't have been in possession of a weapon. If he shouldn't have been in possession of a stolen vehicle if it was stolen. But those two crimes are punishable by jail, not by death. And, it's just a different perception of how people in the community, how we see each other, and how outsiders from the community see people in the community. And, he offered a solution of how, we need more of us on the police force where we don't have those type of instances. He also mentioned, some black cops, and I've heard a lot. They said there's one black cop that shot 7 people up here, and I haven't gotten all of his information. I have to get that information from the other people, but people are waking up to a sort of occupation. As he mentioned, there's a long history. A lot of people have mentioned the case of Timothy Thomas in 2001, if I'm not mistaken, which, set the city on fire after they, took his life. So there's always been an uprising spirit in Cincinnati. And, people are, once again, they are, in that vein right now, so to speak. With people having to experience some of the things they haven't experienced. And also, once again, shout out to our brother, once again, Rodney Hinton Jr. Once again, I talked to his brother while I was here. And, his decision, once again, as many people feel, if it was not for his decision, alleged decision, then many people might not know about his son. And, a lot of people are, even the Attorney General came out talking about his GoFundMe. And, people are saying he shouldn't profit off of criminal activity, which, no one says anything else when other people raise money for their defense, especially law enforcement. And so, our brother's definitely safety in question. I like what my brother Style said, hey, them guys move like a gang in there. You know what I'm saying? And so I just appreciate my brother, man, for being transparent, for allowing me to his barbershop to gain some insight on this. Like that barbershop is literally probably about 2 minutes away from where Ryan Hinton was killed. That's in Lower Price Hill, and the place is called East Price Hill. Which is very, very close. And so shout out to the brother for what he does in the community, for being an entrepreneur, being an example, and being a staple in the community. A couple of people I've said, told where I was at, it was like, yeah, everybody go there. You know what I'm saying? So, shout out to, once again, Style Coach. If y'all in Cincinnati, y'all definitely go see him. If y'all from out of town, y'all need a fresh line. Like I said, somebody see me on the phone. They was like, okay, you done got cleaned up. Now, I literally just got a cut before I came here. What was that, Tuesday or Wednesday? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think it was Tuesday or something like that. I don't know. But then he hit me up just yesterday. So, yeah, man, shout out to my brother, man. I appreciate it once again. Style Coach, Barber and Beauty Salon, 2305 West 8th Street, Cincinnati, Ohio. About to do another grand opening. So, peace to the whole Cincinnati, man. Rest in peace to Ryan Hinton. Prayers and condolences to his family, his mother, his relatives, his brothers and sisters. And we're going to definitely keep his name, going on, as, hopefully we'll be able to get some semblance of justice towards the officer who took his life. Y'all see the number 919-587-7782. Once again, peace and blessings.